Hi everyone, and welcome to Let's Just Do This. I'm Margaret Wallis-Duffy, and I'm happy to be sitting beside my co-host, Mr. Todd Miller.
As always, where else would I be?
Yes, we have a very, very special episode today of Let's Just Do This. We have brought so many change makers to this table to have really empowering discussions on how to live well. But today, it's even extra special. We are beyond honored to have Dr. George Grant sitting with us here in studio. When you hear his bio, you are going to be blown away, as am I. And beside him, the VP of the Academy of Wellness, Denise Roy. Now, before we get to delve into this discussion, and today we're going to talk about diabetes, which is clearly an epidemic in our culture. It is on the rise, certainly in the community of which my clinic has existed for 26 years. We have an absolute crisis of 1 in 6 people in the northeast corner of Brampton has diabetes. And I'm passionate about looking at prevention and ways to actually prevent diabetes rather than just putting a bandage approach. But before we do this, you need to really understand the quality of the human being that's sitting across from us and who I am going to learn from today, and I know all of you will too. So I'm going to read his bio from one of his books, and actually I'm not going to read the whole bio because it would take too long, but I really do want you to get a sense of the quality of this gentleman. Dr. George Grant, PhD, is known as the caring doctor. He is considered the Canadian authority in integrative medicine and functional medicine and Canada's wellness ambassador. Dr. Grant is an award best-selling celebrity author of 10 books, 5 patents, 250 published papers, 375 paper reviews, hundreds of conference presentations, and he's the senior editor of 5 scientific journals. There are so many other things that stand out in his work in collaboration with the Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, Harvard. And one thing that really stood out to me is that Dr. Grant was a senior consultant for Health Canada for many years. Mm-hmm. What an honor to meet you in person.
Thank you. The honor is mine. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Todd.
Now, Denise, I'm so thrilled that you said that you would come on the show with us today, and the reason being you're passionate about the work that Dr. Grant does because you've seen this firsthand. And for many of you listeners and viewers out there, you know why I'm so passionate about integrative health, because I don't look like my story. And I won't bore you with all those details, but I truly believe that complementary medicine and conventional medicine have to work together. You know this as a patient as well. Denise, can you tell us how you met Dr. Grant and why now you are linking arms with him as the VP of the Academy of Wellness?
Well, first of all, thank you, Margaret and Todd, for having us today. It is really a pleasure to be there with you. Margaret, you have such a reputation out there. It really is an honor to be working with you on this. So, yes, I met Dr. Grant last year, only a year ago, actually. Yes. In a few days, it will be a year ago. And a year ago, I did not look the same at all. I was about, at least 30 pounds heavier. Mm-hmm. I was dealing with a lot of difficulties health-wise. I was gaining weight uncontrollably. I sustained a severe neck injury 9 years ago. And I thought I was doing great because I was told that I would never have an active life again. And I showed them that I was having an active life again. But 8 years later, I could not move my neck further than here. And for me, that was a miracle because I couldn't move it, except for a few millimeters before. And I was walking through, a seminar hall, and Dr. Grant was there with his big smile, and he saw me coming, and he said, "Hi, I'm Dr. Grant." And I said, "Hello, I'm Denise." He says, "You have neck pain." I said, "How do you know?" And he said, "Well, your head is tilted." I said, "No, I have perfect posture, mister."
So there.
And he said, no, your neck is tilted. And he said, "Actually, I can tell you that you sustained an injury on the left side of your neck." And I said, "How do you know?" And he said, "Because I'm Dr. Grant. These are all my credentials." And he had a big banner with all the credentials enumerated on it. And he said, "I can fix your neck for you in less than a minute." And I said, "Nobody touches my neck." And he said, "Trust me." He said, "I taught at the University, of Toronto. at the pharmacy and at the medicine faculty so I can take care of you. And I said, all right, fine, you can do it. And he started practicing his biocranial technique that he invented. It was a little bit painful at first, but honestly, in less than a minute, it was done. I had full mobility back, which I hadn't gotten back in 8 years. It was an absolute discovery for me. And then I went to see him, and he assessed my health, and he saw that I was lacking iron, calcium. I was osteopenic. I was suffering of IBS. I was really lacking every single nutrient in my body. I was very sluggish. I did not have a lot of energy at the time. I was losing my memory, and it was showing. I could not remember things. And within a week of following his advice, I lost 9 pounds. I was not exercising. I was eating very, very healthy. And within a matter of 3 to 4 months, I was back to a healthy weight, which means that I did not feel heavy, I did not feel sluggish without exercising. Mm-hmm. And now a year later, I'm better than I've been in 9 years. In 9 years, it's amazing.
I love hearing your story, and I know that there are going to be a lot of people listening or watching at home and thinking, yeah, really? Like, really?
Really.
And
I'm 43 years old.
Young.
Yes.
I'm 43 years
young.
young.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
and I've never felt so comfortable in my own skin than before.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're sharing your story, and I love, we say here at Let's Just Do This, don't we, Todd, that we're going to challenge your belief systems.
Yes.
That we're going to really challenge your beliefs, and all I'm going to ask of those listeners and viewers right now is to keep your mind and your heart open as we listen to Dr. Grant and some of the work that he is doing, so that you too potentially could invest in your own health and have changes like Denise. So thank you for sharing that story.
Absolutely. And I want to say that I always had an open mind about holistic health. I grew up in the Caribbean where we take care of ourselves a lot with teas and bitters and things like that. And especially Dr. Grant has been such an amazing person into helping me having a conversation with my own parents that are dealing with being pre-diabetic, high blood pressure, cholesterol, and things like that. So I'm very grateful. So I couldn't resist locking arms with him, like you say, into spreading the message and educate the public as much as possible.
So we got to dive in here, Dr. Grant.
All
That was
right.
quite an introduction and a
Thank
story.
you so much.
And I know this is just one of thousands worldwide of who you've
Just
helped.
8,800
Eight-
so far.
8,800.
We have clients all over the world, yes.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yes.
So where do we embark to start this discussion when we look at type 2 diabetes,
Yeah.
that is a lifestyle disease?
Well, Margaret, our slogan is we care, we serve, we educate, just like what you're doing.
Yes.
We do not medicate, operate, vaccinate, irradiate, or irritate. So sometimes doctors tend to do that because of forcing the clients to get vaccinated or to do mammograms, which they do not even need it.
Right.
So there's no need for all of this stuff. So I believe that prevention is better than intervention.
Right.
Now, after doing 20 odd years teaching at the Faculty of Pharmacy in Saskatchewan, and also right here at Seneca College, right in North York in Toronto, on working on beta endorphins, we were the pioneers there in Saskatchewan, 1981, to develop that. With Dr. Wayne Hindmarsh, who is the Dean of Pharmacy in Saskatchewan, and he's currently Dean of Pharmacy at University of Toronto. We found that people writing us letters, acupuncturists from all over the world, and athletes, about this endorphins thing. It's now becoming a household word, as you know, beta endorphins.
Yes.
Which controls actually pain. And endorphins is the chemical that makes you happy. It's when you have high endorphins, and you do not need any psychotropic drugs. So after teaching pharmacology and toxicology for those 2 decades, 2.5 decades, I found it's not really the pill for every ill that makes people healthy. And coming from a family history where my mother had a heart attack at age 45 when I was 18, father heart attack at age 63, and my grandparents died before their age 60. And currently I'm 68. Most of my clients tell me I look 58, 10 years younger. And I do not take medications. I feel very good. I don't have any problems, touch wood. So it's all about how to live healthy.
Right.
And how to achieve total wellness till age 101, which is the title of this book. But fortunately, I have some of my clients reach now the age of 100 centurions. So my 11th book now, which is in the writing, How to Live Healthy to 111, Healthy and Happy, without any medication, without any surgery. And we happen to help this, you remember the young lady, Kim, from Vietnam, with all of those napalm bomb and all of
Yes.
these things.
That picture.
The picture of the century. She came to us with 17 surgeries and medications, and she was living in pain. She could not sleep. And actually, Denise met Dr. Kim now. She's actually met with the Queen of England, Sir Richard Branson, the Queens and Kings of Europe. And she was sharing with them what we have done. She's living now pain-free, no medications. And if one day you'll meet her, we'll introduce you
I
to
would
her.
love that.
She also is treating diabetes, right? You help her with diabetes
Absolutely.
as well.
And
so.
also her family. So you see, diabetes, Margaret, is the easiest thing to prevent. And we have type 1, which is basically people born with diabetes that need insulin, which is the minority of the diabetes, about 10-15%. But the majority now of diabetics are the type 2, which is basically adult onset diabetes. Now, doctors, they manage diabetes with medication like glyburide, metformin, Actose, Avidia, all of these stuff, fine, to control the blood sugar. It's sometimes needed.
Yes.
But in most cases, we have to look at their diet and lifestyle. Because I had a client at Sunnybrook. I do not work for Sunnybrook, okay? And one of my co-authors, because I've written 10 books, actually sent me to a client who who have diabetes, and he's taken medication for 5 medications for diabetes, and also he has hypertension. He's taking 5 medications for that as well. And he has angina. He taking medication for a beta blocker for that.
Right.
And he was taking about 20 meds, so 2 dozens of medications. And then he had angioplasty, of course, and then the bypass, and the applies 2 stents in his artery, yet he's feeling still with angina.
Right.
And he was 77, they could not do another bypass. So one of my co-authors, Dr. Gordon Cole, actually asked me to see if I can do anything with him. And when I actually saw the guy, I said, what is it that you eat? He said, nothing, doc, just bacon and eggs. I said, in the morning, okay, and is it like once a day? Or once a week? He said, no, every day. I said, is it for a year? He said, no, every day for 27 years.
Wow.
Right.
I said, you eating bacon? He said, yeah, it's only 6 strips of bacon and 3 eggs fried in the bacon
6
fat.
strips of bacon.
I said, 6 strips of bacon and 3 eggs fried in the bacon fat, and you have angina and you have diabetes. Do you drink lots of water? He said, no, I like to drink soda. I said, but how could you drink soda when you're diabetic? I said, no, I drink diet soda.
Oh.
I said, okay.
With aspartame.
Aspartame, that's actually worse than the regular soda for diabetics, because they have the full sense of security that it's diet soda. And I said, do you drink coffee? He said, no, I drink coffee, only 3 coffee, double. I said, okay, now, if you want me to help you, you have to change all of this stuff. And he asked me, what do you have to eat? I said, you have to eat porridge. And you have to eat like oatmeal, things natural with almond milk or coconut milk. I said, no, that doesn't taste so good. I said, sir, well, we have to change that, and we have to drink the H2O,
Right.
what's called water. You need 8 glasses of those instead of the diet soda and all of this stuff. Anyway, I convinced him to do that. Happy to tell you, Margaret and Todd, in 15 years, he has not had any medications. He has 50% less clogging in his arteries,
Wow.
and he's doing just fine.
Down from 20 meds.
Yeah.
Down for 20 meds, and there's
Zero.
no need for bypass. And he was actually sent to hospice because they could not do anything with him. Anyway, it's a true story. And then I'll show you his chart when you come and see me at the clinic. And one day you will meet with him, and then you will see how well he's done.
Amazing.
And there's some simple steps that we
Yes.
recommend,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Could
which
you
we,
share
Absolutely.
that with
which we will share.
We will share.
In a minute,
Yes.
after the break.
All right,
Yes.
excellent.
So that's, I
Yes.
think, a great place to just take a quick break and let all
Sure.
of you let that digest for a
Yes.
minute. So we'll be
Yes.
right back. We'll have lots more here with Dr. Grant on Let's Just Do This. Welcome back to Let's Just Do This. We've started an amazing discussion with Dr. Grant, PhD from the University of Toronto, along with a long list of other credentials. One of the Canadian leaders, actually worldwide leaders in integrative health. We were talking about diabetes
Yes.
and it being a preventable disease. And here on Let's Just Do This, we really like to stock people's toolboxes with practical evidence-based strategies
Yes.
to help them live well.
Yes.
So if we're talking about diabetes, Dr. Grant, what are some of your top tips to help people prevent diabetes, or if they are on the cusp or maybe even have diabetes? Is there hope for them too?
Absolutely. In fact, I wrote all of those tips on our website, academyofwellness.com,
Great.
under Wellness IQ. And
Okay.
it lists all of the stuff from A to Z simple tips like drinking water with a pinch of baking soda to make their pH alkaline, half a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and basically half a lemon. And just a small amount of turmeric or curcumin because it makes the body alkaline and it also detoxes the body and regulates blood sugar. And I also ask them for a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon. Cinnamon is the best friend for diabetics. Cinnamon tea and actual cinnamon spice. And then to eat the food that prevent diabetes. Complex carbohydrate, whole grains.
Yes.
We try to avoid any simple carbs.
Right.
Like bread, donuts, croissant.
Right.
Definitely no white bread. In fact, we had a client today at the clinic, and she had 70% function in her kidney, and her dietitian said, you should eat white bread. I was totally blown away when I heard that.
Yeah.
Like, I had my degree from University of Toronto. I don't know where she gets her degree in dietitian from. White bread definitely would cause high uric acid. It's carbohydrate, simple carbs. It will give her insulin resistance.
Yes.
And it's going to cause, if she has high uric acid, how she can have healthy kidney function? No. Simple tips on the academyofwellness.com, Wellness IQ, will prevent diabetes. If you have somebody with diabetes, I met somebody last week who came to my clinic. I know for 20 years. He has blood sugar of 32. The normal blood sugar is between 4.5 to 5. He has blood sugar of 32. He went to emergency, and right away they put him on insulin and put him on glyburide and metformin and all of this stuff. So, and his blood sugar is still 32 when he came to see me. So I said, you got to do much more than this. Wow. So I told him about the same tip. I'm just sharing this with you right now. He took this water with apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, and I told him to drink 6 cups of tea with cinnamon and turmeric every single day. He came back after 2 days, his blood sugar is 6.
Wow.
It's a true story.
Really?
His name is Aldo, and I have his permission to share his story online, live. And you can actually, I can bring him, he can tell you his own story. This is from 32 to 6, and he's not taking the medication. His physician stopped. We're not asking anybody to stop any medication, please.
No, please. And I need to be very clear here.
It's very important.
We
I work
work
Health
together
Canada.
with, you worked
we
with
work
Health
together with
Canada.
lots of physicians. All my books are written with the top physician in Canada.
Right.
And in the States, with Johns Hopkins Mayo Clinic and Harvard and Cleveland Clinic. I don't need to. And because I work for Health Canada, I do not tell anybody to stop medication. So
No,
this is
of
important.
course not.
So if you take a medication, take it. But along with it, just do the practical tips. If we avoid carbohydrates and eat high protein and high fiber. See, fiber is your best friend when you have diabetes. Because when you have high fiber, you regulate insulin resistance.
Right.
So that is what I recommend for simple tips that works.
It does work.
It's guaranteed to work.
Yes.
Now, just for, I think I know the answer because, of course, I own an integrative clinic and
Yes.
I have a couple of naturopaths and through my
you're
own
very
learning.
knowledgeable, too.
Yes, I am. Explain to people what turmeric and cinnamon, what are the properties and why does that work? I want people to understand
Yeah,
the
turmeric
therapeutic
is an
benefits.
Indian spice that actually have something called curcumin and produce another bioactive ingredient called curcuminoids. There's hundreds of literature in the literature. You just type curcuminoids on Google or Medline or PubMed, and you're going to find the efficacy of curcuminoids. In fact, it enhances memory, it regulates blood sugar, it reduces pain.
Yes.
Because
of inflammatory response.
It's anti-inflammatory, exactly. And regulates blood sugar, so it actually prevents this insulin resistance. And so is cinnamon.
Yes.
There's lots of bioactive ingredients in those kind of herbs that it helps us as human beings to regulate our blood sugar and also to prevent insulin resistance. Because this insulin resistance can cause what's called type 3 diabetes, which we have discovered almost like 15 years ago, which we call dementia, and eventually Alzheimer. And this is all related to basically insulin resistance or diabetes. Type 3 diabetes is dementia.
Yes.
So people who have problem with diabetes, they always develop dementia and eventually Alzheimer, which is preventable. Now, did you know, Margaret, that the cost to manage dementia is 3 times the cost to manage cancer? It's 3 times. And we've seen clients at our clinic, you can ask Denise, in their mid-20s, mid-30s, mid-40s, mid-50s, or mid-60s, and they have problem remembering simple things.
Yes.
They forget their password, they forget their keys, they forget date of birth for some people, loved one, and they have the beginning of dementia.
Well, when I met you, I was very foggy. I used to have,
brain fog.
my memory was always impeccable, and I was always in a fog. And it was
it is
related,
reversible.
yes, and it was related to my state of health because my diet and my body were just not in alignment with being healthy.
Absolutely.
So I can tell you now, Margaret, diabetes is preventable and it is reversible. After seeing 8,800 clients, 32% are diabetics, and when we go to the Caribbean, they have 40% diabetes. They love their soda.
Right.
They love their fruits. So I tell them to eat 7 vegetables and only 2 fruits. I love mango. I love papaya. I love banana. I love all of those fruits. But if I have 7 fruits per day, I have family history of diabetes. I'm going to develop diabetes.
High
Yes.
in natural sugar.
High in fructose, which is,
Right.
so we cannot do that. So you have to have the 7 vegetables, which is very low in sugar, very high in fiber, and then limit the amount of fruits and limit amount of sugar, and then just increase the amount of water and fiber, and then you can reverse diabetes very simply. Of course, there's other stuff to eat, like sweet potato, yams.
Yes.
Yams is very high in fiber, and if you bake it at 375 Celsius for about 45 minutes, and you cut it and you put cinnamon inside, this is actually the best thing.
It's delicious.
It is so delicious. And you can take something called chromium, vanadium. These are supplements that actually help diabetics.
Yes.
Instead of taking gallbladder metformin, Actos, and all of the insulin, fast-acting 70-30 or slow-acting, just try this along with the medication you're taking right now.
Right.
And then your physician is going to cut you off when you reach 5.5, 6. They have to.
Right.
They're going to titrate the dosage, reduce it, like what we done with Aldo just last week.
And this is what I love. You know, I get on my soapbox about this whole Better Together movement.
Yes.
And Dr.
Yes.
Grant, you're going to be an
passionate.
integral part. Yes, I am. But as you just said,
Yes.
we're going to work with that physician
Absolutely.
to titrate that dose.
Yes.
We're going to do this safely and effectively.
Yeah.
But what I love most about this, and
Yes.
I could hear this with Denise. I'm hearing this when you're talking about,
Yes.
is it Aldo? Oh,
Aldo.
Aldo.
Aldo, yeah.
What about the quality of their life? I mean,
my goodness.
at the end of the day, people are maybe living longer,
Yes.
but they're not living well. And it's we deserve, to, in my opinion, to
Yes.
live well until we don't.
Absolutely.
And those little things that we can do, even when we're on medication.
Yes.
That's why this us versus them approach, the conventional versus complementary medicine, and those two there not ever speak, is so wrong. There's such a gap in that care of putting the patient at the center and not saying you do this or you do that, but what if we do this together?
And that is integrative medicine.
Yes.
And that is functional medicine, which is the medicine of the gut.
Gut.
Because everything starts in the gut.
It does indeed.
Because any medication for diabetes, by the way, they control only blood sugar, but they do not control insulin resistance.
Right.
Very rarely to control it. And when the sugar is high and low like this, like a yo-yo, that's when we have the problem of dementia. That's when we have the problem of circulation.
Yes.
That's when we have the problem with amputation and then blindness. Insulin resistance is a disease that we need to, more than diabetes.
Right.
So this is the target, and natural integrative medicine will actually target this faster than any other conventional medicine that I've taught
That you've
in the
taught.
faculty of pharmacy.
Exactly.
Because
that
it's
term.
scientifically, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Because it's also scientifically based, and people have to understand that. This is not just, oh, you go to the bush and you take that herb and you boil it. No, it is scientifically based. This is really like a scientist talking to you. He's a biochemist. He's pioneered so many researches in the medical world.
Yep.
He knows, like, he understands how, our body works and how these, active ingredients,
Yes.
their bioavailability in our bodies. What are the best
Exactly.
sources? So it is scientifically based. So.
Well, food is medicine.
Food
Yes.
is your
And we
medicine.
are
Most
what
definitely.
we eat.
Exactly.
There is
We
no
are what we eat, you are what we don't
Think.
eat, and we are what's eating us for
Right.
stress. That was my topic at University of Toronto, stress.
Right.
Stress actually causes so many, 75% of disease all related to stress.
Yes, yes.
could
And
be
then, and the
reversed.
stress which causes the inflammatory response, which is the basis
Yes.
of every single disease that there is. Boy, oh boy, we could go round and round here, couldn't we, Todd?
And my pen ran out of ink, so I'm going to have to go to your website.
Okay, please. Wellness IQ.
Yeah,
and
that's
actually
right.
come to see us at the clinic.
Anytime.
Yes. You know, this has been such an engaging discussion, and there's so much more to cover here. I think that it's really important to recognize that we need to work together with the patient.
Absolutely.
They need to be able to live well.
Yes.
And you can do that without completely sacrificing everything. I mean, you just gave a recipe,
Yes.
and yes, you know what? If someone's not used to eating a sweet potato or a yam
Yes.
with cinnamon, it might not be appealing to them at first.
Right.
But what's more appealing, and I'm looking into the camera,
Yes.
what's more appealing when you don't have good health, when you can't think straight, when you're in pain,
Yes.
and when you have premature death as a result of the lifestyle that you're leading? Lean in, as we
Yes.
talk about on Let's Just Do This, to challenging your beliefs and listening to gentlemen like this
Yes.
that is collaborating. Let's talk very briefly, because we have to finish up here.
Well,
Some
let's
of your
just,
work with Harvard and,
yes,
and
yes.
Health Canada. Tell us a little bit about, that work that you're doing.
We organized the Natural Pain Conference in 2015 in Chicago with the largest hospital in the world, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, and we helped them to see the value of integrative medicine. instead of using opioid, now we talk about CBD, which is cannabinoids.
Right.
Which has been published in so many. No, by the way, CBD does not have THC.
Yeah.
Right.
CBD is very, amazing for pain management and also for cancer management. We talked about that. We talked about things called the amethyst, which is it's a biomat, which has been studied actually at Mayo Clinic. You see here, Mayo Clinic. And then this is actually to reduce pain without any opioid, because opioid now becoming the drug for teenagers.
Yeah.
It's a drug, it's a street drug right now, and we should change from opioid to cannabinoids or to something natural, unless we have a problem with drug addiction for teenagers. And if the people just, let's do it, let's eat the vegetables, let's eat the healthy stuff, and reverse and prevent diabetes,
Yes.
we're going to be
Recipe
winning.
for health.
It does
Absolutely.
indeed.
And then for dementia, and for Alzheimer, and for Parkinson's. It's all reversible, it's all preventable, and we should spend some time with the clients. 5 minutes, 10 minutes to write a prescription. It's not healthcare, it's sick care. I'm sorry. I spend with our clients a whole hour to see and listen to them.
Right. Well, clearly you're passionate.
Yes,
Clearly
I
you've
do.
got the knowledge behind you and the experience. We want to thank you for coming into the
Thank you
studio
so
today,
much.
and I hope that you're going to come back. In fact, we know he's
I
going
will
to
come
come
back.
back to do
Yes.
another show with us. Thank you so much, both of you,
Thank
for
you, Margaret.
joining us.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, Todd.
much to both of you as well.
Thank you.
Yes,
If you'd like more information, you can go to the academyofwellness.com. And of course, reach out to us here at Let's Just Do This. I've learned a lot today, and I hope you have too. We want your feedback. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and let us know what you want to know and hear about on this show. So from Todd Miller, myself, and the entire team here at Your TV and Wow New Media, until next time, be well.